Hello everyone and welcome back to Casual Decks or Social Players. Here we have 5 rules. 1. The deck has to be modern. 2. It's got to be made from pool cards. 3. If I do buy cards, it's got to be less than £5. 4. It's got to be fun. And 5. I can break any of these rules. This is Season 2, so we have a 6th rule, which is that deck has to be made from cards from the same set or block. Today we are continuing our exploration through Eldraine and we're looking at some very fast fairies. The deck is quite simple. We want to play as many fairies as cheaply as possible. So we have a 1 mana fairy Dream Thief which enters and surveils, or you can exile it from your graveyard to draw a card and lose a life. We have one of those. We have Snare Master Sprite. This is a 1 mana 1/1 which enters. You can pay 2 extra to stun an opponent's creatures. We have 3 of these. We have 2 Sleep Cursed Fairies, which is a 1 mana 3/3 with flying and ward free. Seems really good, but what's the downside? Enters with 3 stun counters, unfortunately, so you can't use it really early, but you can pay 2 to untap it. So we've got 2 of those. We have O'Brien Dreaming Duelist, which is blue and a black for a fairy warrior with 2 mana 2/2. It's got flash, it's got flying, and it enters. When another fairy enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. Really good to do some ping damage over the top. We have 2 of those. We have Likeness Looter, 2 and a black. Blue and a black, apologies. Fairy Shapeshifter is a 1/1 with flying. Tap, draw a card and discard a card, and pay X. It becomes a copy of target creature in your graveyard with mana value X. It has flying and this ability. Really good to get some of the cool big creatures in this deck. Recursion. So we have 2 of those. We have a Barrow Naughty, 1 and a black for a fairy, 1/3 flyer, and it has lifelink as long as you control another fairy, which hopefully we should do. 2 and a black gives it +1/+0 to end the turn, so a really good mana sink later on. We have 4 of those. We have a Picklock Prankster, which is 1 and a blue for a fairy rogue. It's a 1/3 flying with vigilance. It also has an adventure, Free the Fae, 1 and a blue to mill for, put an instant sorcery or fairy from among the mill cards into your hand. Quite nice later on. We have 3 of these. We have 1 Mocking Sprite, which is 2 and a blue for a fairy rogue. 2/1 flyer, 1 instant sorceries you control get 1 less to cast. We have a couple of instant sorceries, so it's quite nice later on. And finally we have Talion the Kindly Lord, 2 blue, black, 3/4 flyer in this amazing art. When it enters, you can choose a number between 1 and 10, and whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. Really, really good, fun card, and really good in Commander. With lots of cheap, fast creatures, we need some good removal. So we have Fairy Fencing, X and a black for an instant for target creature gets -X/-X, and if you control a fairy, it's -3/-3 an additional, which is really, really good. We have 4 of those. We have 2 Candy Grapples, 1 and a black for an instant to give something -3/-3. If the spell was bargained, that creature gets -5/-5. We don't have a huge amount of ways to bargain, but it's still pretty good. We have Spell Stutter, which is 1 and a blue to counter target spell unless the controller pays 2 plus an additional 1 for each fairy, which can be quite a lot when this gets going. We have 3 of these, and finally a Fairy Slumber Party, 4 blue for a sorcery to return all creatures to the owner's hands. For each opponent who controlled a creature returns where you create 2 1/1 blue fairies, so quite nice to bounce everything back and get some fairy value. And finally, we're going to burn through a hand quite quickly, so let's get some card draw in. We have Curiosity with a lot of evasion. This is really good to equip to one of our flyers, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. We have 2 of those. We just have some quick studies, 2 and a blue for instant to draw 2 cards, like Divination, but faster. We have 2 of those. We are into the Fey Court, 3 blue, 3 cards, and create a fairy. Not too bad. We have a Kindred to Discovery, 3 blue to choose fairies, and whenever a fairy enters or attacks, I get to draw a card. And we have Rowdy Research, 6 and a blue for instant, but it costs 1 less for each creature that attacked, and you get to draw 3 cards. So really nice to attack with your board, draw a bunch of cards, and keep going. And finally, our land. We have 1 Edgewall Inn, 12 islands, and 11 swamps. Again, running a bit low on special lands for this. And finally, a look at the deck as a whole with its curve. See quite low drops. And we'll see you next time.